Waiting for Seconds is a podcast that talks about subjects of self-harm, suicide, eating disorders, and other personal subjects. If you don't feel comfortable listening to this podcast alone, listen to it with someone important to you. May that be a teacher, a parent figure, or someone you feel comfortable being with. Please enjoy the rest of the episode.
This is Waiting for Seconds, the interview podcast where we meet people, ask them who they are and why they are. I'm Malcolm Elkelt, and I'm here with Shannon Miller, and today's guest, Adam Taylor.
Hello, I'm Adam. I'm a computer science student at Walla Walla University. This is my senior year, and I've been tutoring and teaching alongside of my school for the past 7 years. And I just started a research project with my professor that I'm really enjoying working in a semi-real world experience now. I have two adorable cats named Mojo and Patches. I have an older brother, and I've basically spent my entire life in Washington State. And my favorite game is Destiny 2, but any game will do in a pinch.
So I personally know Adam. I've known him for about 10 years. We originally met through church and quickly became friends as we joined schools together. Well, not schools. We started in 6th grade together, and then we graduated at Auburn Adventist Academy, playing countless games such as Minecraft and Terraria. And a couple months ago, we got back together after graduating and started playing Minecraft again. And I'm just so glad you were willing to come and talk about who you are today.
No problem.
Of course, we have a couple questions that we plan to ask, but it might be a little bit different than the last episode. So,
I'd love to start, Adam. You mentioned, Shannon, you mentioned that you met him through church.
Yep.
Adam, are you willing to tell us a little bit more about your church, about your religious experiences? Is it religious? Do you have any other spiritual beliefs?
Yeah. So the first church experience I had is here in Walla Walla. I grew up here, and there's a big university church here that has like 6,000 members or something like that. So I grew up in like a very depersonalized religious experience, and that never felt quite right. But then when I moved to where Shannon is, we moved into this tiny little church that has like a membership of like maybe 50.
Yeah.
And there is a significantly closer bond to the people in that church. We had potlucks after every church service, and we got to know each other and support each other. And the kids, teenagers, collegiate, all hung out long time, played soccer, did really fun things, and really got to know each other. And we really built a community and friendship like that. Right now, I'm a Christian. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, and right now it's hard. I consider myself non-denominational, but leaning towards Seventh-day Adventist. There's a lot of harmful things in organized religion, specifically churches and stuff, that I've been trying to avoid.
There is a lot of value, right, in that community aspect of it.
Yeah,
that seems
there
like
is.
a lot of the point for you. Is that fair to say that
Right.
it's
Yeah.
more about the people than the religion itself?
It's more about like a personal connection and like actually understanding what the people themselves are believing. That is what draws me towards God. Like especially right now, like while I'm in school, going to a worship service where we basically have a lecture, we're all sitting in the pews. It doesn't feel special or connective to God for me.
So
Yeah.
you would say it's more personal and no longer like associated just with the church. That is more like just of a social aspect, like going to
I
church
have
every
a
weekend.
yes, yeah, I have a very personal connection with God that I do like sharing with other people who are curious to know. But the uh, kind of social fiasco of church and the shallowness that I have experienced in church is
Yeah,
not always something that I have liked. Sometimes I like it, sometimes, but most of the time it's not on my wheelhouse.
yeah. Now,
So
yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Shin.
No, go ahead.
Now, you mentioned that you used to be Seventh-day Adventist and are now Christian.
hmm
You were born into Seventh-day Adventism?
Yeah, I was.
Uh,
Uh,
and did that didn't feel natural? Is that just because of the larger community that it never felt close, or do you think that that's something more to do with not having a choice in it?
I think it's a little bit of both, a little bit of not having much of a choice, though that just recently, like that hasn't been as much of a bigger deal. It was mainly just recently, like the disconnect, and mainly like I believe in the Sabbath, and I think it should
Mhm.
be like a unique and very special day, and going to church made it feel like the rest of the week for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Also, if I'm non-denominational, I can avoid some of the stereotypes, especially as Seventh Day Adventists.
Haystacks.
Haystacks good.
Haystacks are good, but they are a stereotype.
That's true.
So I I I totally get that, buddy. Because I mean, since we went to the same church together, I totally understand where it feels like it's just the rest of the week. And are you spiritual in any other way besides religion? Is it like maybe a practice you do, or is it? Yeah, it could be karma. Do you believe in like if you do evil? Is that how karma works? Or is it
Basically,
you do good, you get good things happening to
I
you?
think mostly
Yeah.
karma, yeah, yeah. Good things follow good things, bad things follow bad things.
Mm.
But I'm not. I don't think it's nearly that way. Well, I think it is that way, but not in the spiritual perspective. I think that if you do bad things,
Just
as
like
in,
natural
it's more
consequences.
Mhm.
likely that someone who you did something bad to is not going to be happy about it.
Right. Like let's say
More
I
just the
punch.
consequences of your
Right.
actions
Right.
than
Like maybe it's not even the person, but like something bad happened to them and they did something bad, and then
Mhm.
more like the butterfly effect than.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So
like
like, since I believe in that, and I don't know, I really like science, and I believe that there are a significant amount of things in this world that can be uh, explained by science, and that a lot of the things that we might see as God's intervention might just be random circumstance. Uh,
mm,
it might also be God. I'm in the weird kind of place where it's like it could be either. It's not one of the other for me. So it's like if someone thinks that it was God's intervention, then I'm willing to believe that it was God's intervention. And if they say it's random chance, it could well be one random chance.
mm,
Now, there's some interesting. You're both a very much a man of science and also uh, a Christian, which, in truth, my predetermined ideas of scientific people and Christians are kind of not similar.
Mhm.
They are exclusionary. Has
Right.
that ever been a struggle? Have people from either side, computer science groups, scientific groups, giving you shit for being Christian or the other way around?
I don't think that I haven't gotten shit about being Christian. Uh, but I have been given shit by Christians a little bit by willing to entertain scientific.
Mm,
Like, I'm willing to. I don't believe in evolution, but I am willing to look at evolution and say that this is a freaking well thought out
mhm.
scientific experiment. And like,
Right.
it's a good justification for. It's a good hypothesis for what has happened. I think that both creation and evolution are very well developed.
Mhm.
We've been developing them for like 500 years.
They are well thought out theories, either way.
Yeah. Yeah. Either just the Big Bang
Yeah,
or
so
the creation. Yeah.
I have gotten a lot of shit for saying that evolution is a well thought out method by my parents, other Christians, and stuff like that. But I actually have not gotten that much shit from atheists for saying that I believe in God or anything like that. They're usually
That's
just
yeah.
accept it, which
That's nice.
is like polar opposite of like everything I've been taught about atheists. So
Right.
I mean,
that's one
truly,
reason.
that
Sure.
surprises me a little bit, even. As an agnostic person, I am a little surprised that you've never been given shit from a professor or a fellow classmate who learns that you're religious and assumes that you can't have a scientifically minded brain just because you have beliefs that don't work with theirs.
Mm.
hmm Yeah, I basically I say that everything. My belief is that everything at the beginning of time is basically extrapolation, and everything
Hmm.
at the end of in the future is extrapolation. So like theories are just kind of theories.
Yeah. I mean, we've been as Christians, from what I understand, is we've been passed down knowledge for maybe thousands of years, and that can always be changed from one translation to another. And so, 1,000 years, it's a lot of translation to maybe confuse us or like
Mhm.
Someone
make
might have
us go ahead.
purposefully changed things or even accidentally
Oh
mistaken
yeah.
words and
Well, and there's
completely changed meanings.
King Henry, way back in England, when he or no, it was King James.
James.
King James wrote like basically a different version of the Bible just so it pertained to him.
Mhm.
And we
He
still use that
basically
version today.
he wrote
So,
that version to spite both Calvinists and Catholics at the same time. So like literally no one at the time likes that Bible. And yet it was still the most because it's enforced by the king.
Mhm.
Gotta
yeah.
use
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Now, I heard somewhere in there, like, you're talking about how you're a very science man. Now, is this part of like how you look at the world? Is there something different, like with your worldview, that like maybe changes that a little bit, or is it mainly you just look at the world as like super scientific?
So I've mostly been colored by my love for mathematics. I love math.
That is
I'm a computer science major, and I've taken over 3/4 of the math classes that are available at my school. I love math, and math gives you the ability to model basically everything that has ever come into existence. So I can model probability and just spitball something that's going to happen, and it happens. So that's kind of where my science has come from. Like with mathematics being able to explain so much, and then every other scientific field kind of has its origin somewhat in mathematics. Just like everything is like physics based on mathematics, and then chemistry is based on physics, and then biology is based on chemistry. So everything is kind of rooted in this underlying mathematical principle. So, and that's kind of like why I believe both in God and in science, because it feels weird that there would be this massive underlying pattern that basically matches the entire universe, give or take a little bit. And also, I believe in science because there is this underlying mathematical or physical description of the world that we can model things.
Understanding it is that scientific view and just being in awe of it. And I mean,
Yeah.
truly, it is amazing how much logic exists in our universe.
Right. And they're like things that like I believe that are God's intervention that I might completely change my mind on just a little bit later because there's a mathematical formula to describe it.
Yeah.
That might be an even more controversial opinion than
Oh, hell
believing
yeah.
in God.
Oh yeah.
Math is fun.
Math is fun.
Math is fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to ask, so obviously with your church presence, especially it being so community focused, there have to have been a lot of factors in creating who you are right now.
Mhm.
I'd like to ask you, who do you think is the most influential in that? Whether that's a bully or maybe the leader of your church or your mother?
Um,
Who affected you most in your life?
Probably one of my teachers, a history teacher called Joseph Underhill,
Okay.
Joe Underhill.
The legend.
Yes. He's super influential in my life. He introduced me to computer science, and basically, I was going to be an engineering or a math major, and then he showed me that I could do programming, and that I could just speak mathematics into a computer and get something out that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love basically the instant I started doing it. So he showed me that, and that was incredible. But he also, we had like this, I don't want to call it a Bible study group, but it was kind of close. It was kind of like this religious discussion group. It was like called family groups. And it was this high school. We were in an Adventist high school, and they wanted to have us in religious experience. So we had family groups, and we had like discussions over a Friday night and a good meal. And it was like 8 or 9 of us just hanging out and talking about a topic. And we just talked about the topic. We we went down so many rabbit holes and got lost in the discussion. And at the same time, we were talking about spiritual issues, and each of us having our own different perspectives, and understanding each other's perspective was really unique experience. And I think it got me closer to God and to other people. And that's one reason why I'm so religious, and because he was willing to have more of an open format to these spiritual groups instead of just him sharing some spiritual perspective, just having us participate in it. That made it really unique and had us all connecting on a personal level. And that's how our entire group there became friends.
Mhm.
Because of that.
Taking time to talk to each other and understand each other's
Mhm.
worldviews and understanding of your own religion
Mm-hmm.
over a good meal, of course.
Oh yeah, meal definitely helps.
Mhm.
Now, was that friend group? Did that affect you even more as time went on through maybe your high school career and even your college career? Uh, were those open discussions that led you into this group? Did that make your group stronger, or was it?
Those discussions, I'm pretty sure those discussions made our group stronger. We fell out a little bit because of many different problems, but mainly because we're high schoolers and hormones are not exactly the
Right.
friends of relationships. uh, People jump to conclusions, and we just. I'm friends with most of them individually,
Hmm.
but we're not really a group of friends as much anymore.
Yeah. Now, you didn't have any bullies or nobody who was like, uh,
Well, I did. So
oh,
I have long hair. I've had long hair since what, second grade, first grade.
Oh yeah.
um, and kids are mean, so they made
Mm.
fun of me a little bit for for me having long hair. They basically called me a girl. And there was like one person who was the instigator of this, and they were my bully.
Mhm.
But I told the teacher about this a lot,
hmm.
and one time I took matters into my own hands, and I chucked a pencil at them, and like that's like one of the worst feelings I've had in my entire life. It made them stop, but it made me feel truly horrible. So like after that point, I kind of just have it in the back of my head, like not to hurt anyone ever.
Yeah.
Is that a long time life philosophy that you follow consistently? Not to hurt anybody ever?
Yeah, that I try my best to do that. I try to both physically and unfortunately emotionally. Uh, that has led to some problematic events. uh, some problematic friendships. But yeah, that has been something I've uh, strived to live by. It hasn't been easy because I have fairly explosive anger
Mm.
when I actually get angry, it's fairly explosive. So controlling that has been a problem.
Now, is this something you would say like in life that you struggle with like more than other people, or um,
I don't know. I haven't talked to a lot of people about their anger management
yeah,
routines a lot. When I'm alone, being angry is a problem. When I'm around other people, it's not as much of a problem.
because
And
you're
that's probably why it is a problem by myself. Because I'm kind of afraid to be angry around people because I think that they might think I'm crazy.
Mm.
that's fair. I mean, if you really show your anger, some people might think you're a little cuckoo, but
Yeah. So
how,
like
how do you
I
how do you manage that anger? What are your steps to maybe
uh,
calm down or
lesser amounts of anger. I play video games, shooting things. It makes me feel better.
yeah,
Um, and since it's in a video game setting, it doesn't hurt anyone. And
No real
it's a good,
violence.
no
no
real
real
violence?
violence, and I don't use text chat when I'm angry.
You
uh,
know,
but yeah, no real violence against people. When I get really, really angry, sometimes like I rip up pieces of paper or I give my mattress a beat down.
yeah,
But I very much avoid physical violence. And I try not to yell at people either. You have to get me very angry for me to yell at you.
Yeah.
I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've actually yelled at someone.
And those hitting your mattress or tearing up paper, those seem like relatively healthy ways to express your stress and get rid of it. Have you ever, other than yelling, of course, had worse ways to do that? Whether that is, I mean, obviously throwing a pencil, or I know a lot of people punch walls. Has that ever really been a problem, that managing that stress in ways that isn't just against people?
Yeah, during like high school and early college, it was a little bit of a problem. Especially I got when I broke up with my first girlfriend. She never gave me an actual explanation, and that made me upset. Maybe not mad, just generally upset. And I punched the wall because of because I was upset and like just base like out of the blue, just one of those, more of a reflex instinct kind of thing rather than an actual thought out response.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, is there anything else besides anger that you struggle with?
Yeah, I don't know if it was depression, but I did struggle with self-worth and stuff, both during high school and in college. Yeah, I don't know how to explain why, because like looking back, it doesn't seem like a good reason. Which is probably one reason why it was as bad as it was. But yeah, I did hurt myself a couple times. A lot of times. I cut myself quite a bit in high school.
Would you be willing to tell us, not really more about that experience specifically, but about how you got out of that mindset? I know that for myself, I went through some self-harm a couple of years back, and getting out of the mindset was a lot harder than it was to get into it.
It's been an ongoing experience trying to get out of that. But there is, back to religion, another one of the really, really key turning points in that experience is I was like, there was a couple times where I was suicidal, and one of them, I was praying and praying for God to just kill me. But and then I asked for him to just talk to me and just show that he existed, even. And all of a sudden, I felt like this warm feeling around me, and like it kind of felt like tight, but like a comforting version. So like, and I have no good explanation for why a feeling like that could have happened. It basically felt like a hug. So it's my belief that God did answer and either sent an angel or something like that to comfort me at that time. And after that, it was
moment of faith.
Yeah. It was after that moment, it was never as bad as that again.
Now that seems like, I mean, shit, that seems like it'd be one of my most eventful, most interesting, impactful moments in my life.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say that that's at least up there?
Yeah, it's definitely way up there, and probably one of the biggest reasons why I still believe in God.
That's really quite amazing. That's a very powerful moment.
Mm-hmm. It was special, and I haven't shared it with many people just because I'd have to also share that I was suicidal, which is not always the safest or friendliest of topic for most people, but
Not always easy to be an open book about that kind of a topic.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I hope you know we really appreciate you opening, because that is hard for most people, if not all people, who struggle with thoughts of suicide or self-harm.
Talking about it is definitely one of the most difficult parts. Like I could there's probably about 7 people I've physically in person shared with that I've been suicidal or some of my experience, and even less that I've shared this experience with.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate it. And now I'd like to ask you about something completely different. You mentioned your girlfriend earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know more about. We as a society have a lot of expectations that we place on men about pushing relationships forward and being the masculine man, whether that's asking women out on dates or being the one who is obligated to get gifts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know about your experiences with that, whether that's something you feel like you have struggled with, or whether that's something that maybe because of your church or your prior life experiences you feel like has never really come up.
It's definitely come up, especially I'm in a continuing 5-year long relationship.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
And it's been hard with other people's expectations, not her expectations, but like my parents' expectations and like some people who have been. I've told about my relationship. They've it's like, when are you gonna pop the question, or stuff like that, and I am a very anxious person, and if it were just up to me, I would just pop the question with no fuss or specialness or anything like that. I would just ask her the question in an appropriate moment. But
It's never that easy.
yeah, it's never
No.
that easy. People like to have special moments in their life, and I have a lot of anxiety about meeting her expectations for a proposal. So we are definitely debating who's gonna propose. It's a long debate, and we're going back and forth on who's gonna propose and what it's gonna be. It's definitely a possibility for either of us to propose at the moment. But my parents would like me to propose.
And I assume do it soon.
I don't know if it's soon. They keep giving me the advice of that I should not be engaged more than a year, which is very good advice, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're coming up on that time. I got a year left in school.
Yeah.
So, popping the question sometime would be good. But yeah, I have a lot of anxiety about that. And I definitely do not fit the masculine role of a relationship. I am not the dominant one in this relationship.
Is that what she's the breadwinner? And are you both students?
Oh yeah, we're both students. I'm
Okay.
definitely going to be the one who's making the
Okay.
dough. But she has the more dominant personality. Yeah,
Yes.
long
Yeah.
shot. And yeah, I don't think very many people understand. Just her having the dominant role in this relationship.
I mean, a relationship, every relationship is unique to its individuals. It doesn't,
It is.
Right.
people assuming that, I mean, even that your standard, it might be good generally, but it's never necessarily going to work for everyone. And
Exactly.
proposing soon might be good for your parents or someone else, but
Hmm.
maybe it's better for you guys to take your time and make sure it's the right thing.
Yeah.
Even
Taking
if
her time
you're
and
pretty
planning
sure,
it out.
maybe make sure it's the right time is rather the
Oh
better
yeah,
word.
Yeah.
definitely.
All right. Well, you expressed, you talked about your cats a little bit, your beautiful little Mojo and Patches. I want to know just a little bit more about them. Can you just tell me about your babies?
Tell us about your little kitties.
uh,
I need to know.
we got them as little kittens, like 3 months old or something like that.
Mhm.
And we got them right before we moved. And I spent a lot of time with Mojo. I just kind of sat with him and just spent time with him. And because of that, he's basically my cat.
Mm.
He follows me everywhere. He likes to be my lap cat. Uh, he is very enthusiastic when I come home. He's very happy to see me. And I live on the second floor of my house. So whenever I'm about to go upstairs to my room, he runs up to me and follows me upstairs, and it's adorable. And he loves Snuggles and just to play. The funniest thing is, favorite toy, wire twist.
The wire twist?
Wire twist. Like the things that you bind cables with.
Like,
Well, like both like zip ties
Like
or
the
like the little
oh,
wire
yeah,
things
yeah.
covered in plastic. The metal
Okay,
wires
yeah.
covered in plastic. He loves playing with those. Like he just throw it and he just chases it down. Like you throw like a toy mouse and he's like less than enthusiastic. But wire
little
twist.
wire
But that hits different. Little
man goes
wire,
crazy.
man go crazy for a little wire.
And then
Really?
Patches is a chunky cat.
Oh
she's
yeah.
I
she's
remember
she's big.
Patches.
She steals the food from
Oh.
Mojo. um, but she plays fetch, especially with my dad. Like she
Mm.
plays the fetch with mouse. My dad throws the mouse. She goes and chases it, and like a couple seconds later, she brings it back and like meows for you to throw it again. And she's a very talkative cat.
Does she have a very similar relationship to you and Mojo with her and your dad?
Oh yeah, yeah. She loves my dad. She spends a lot of time just
Ah.
hanging around my dad as a lap cat or just like sitting next to him.
I'm gonna have to ask for pictures later.
Yeah, you should send them to me too.
Yeah, just send them.
Um, well, clearly, so I mean, you are clearly a big influence on your cat's life. I think most people are a huge influence on their pet's life, but I'd love to know about the other way around. How much do you think that Mojo has affected you, or both Mojo and Patches have affected you, uh, in your life? I mean, has that made you more outgoing, maybe? Has that made you more want to stay home more to be around the babies?
um, it's it's probably made me more introverted, just more wanting to stay at home. Uh, uh, Especially, I think I've gained some of the social behaviors that my cats have. I'm just
Yeah.
like wanting space sometimes and just like being chill with just sitting, not talking, just like we're just in the same room as each other, but like not doing anything. And I think that has translated to my interactions with people a lot.
So, what I'm hearing is that you also love to play with wire clips.
And you also
No.
simultaneously poop in a litter box?
Yep.
Ew, no, 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 no.
Okay, well, I was just checking. I mean, now, would if you were to, let's say your house, everything you own, of course it'd be your parents' house because I don't think you really care about your dorm room. But if everything at your parents' house catches fire after like going in and getting patches and mojo, and of course your mom and dad and your brother, and you've got a little bit more time to go back in, is there anything else you would grab? Like maybe something's not caught on fire, and that's the thing that like you cherish the most in your house. What would that item
Computer.
be?
Yeah.
Definitely, out of
Yeah,
doubt,
you
my
know what?
computer. I would run back into a burning building to save my computer.
I got bad
It has,
respect for that.
I do too.
it has my entire life on it. It's basically it's how I interact with my friends. It has all of my artwork. It has my music that I've made. It
Oh, that's
has
right.
it has all of my games. It has all of my schoolwork, all of my projects. Basically, if my computer dies, I lose all of my schoolwork, my social life, my all of my work saves. It would
Ooh.
be a disaster.
Yeah. So,
Oh, boy. What? But you have your computer at your dorm, right?
Yeah, that's cool. So technically,
Okay.
if the dorm was on fire, I would run in and save my computer.
But that building's never going down. It's basically concrete,
It's not
isn't
going to
it?
go down. They might actually uh, renovate it, but yeah.
But you're definitely going back for that computer if anything happens.
Oh yeah, definitely
Okay.
without a shadow of a
Okay.
doubt. The
Yeah.
computer.
I don't blame you. I love my computer.
yeah, same. It's an important piece. It's also probably the most expensive thing in my house that I
Oh
can at least
hell
think of.
yeah!
Yeah.
Nothing
Maybe
else.
not the washing machine, but like
Oh yeah, I couldn't. There's no way you're getting
I
that
could
out
I
there.
couldn't
But
trade a fucking
yeah, it's
washing
like
machine out.
$1,000. Little bit of a little bit of a money sink there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might leave my monitor because
That just
it's a good
displays it.
monitor, but it's just a monitor. I could replace a monitor. I
Mhm.
could get a monitor for like $20. Just go to some junk store and buy a monitor from like 2002.
You can get a monitor from any Best Buy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like whatever, like $100 for a monitor, but the information that is stored on the computer is just.
Hmm.
I might even run into just to retrieve my hard drive.
Yeah. And that's a lot about your coding work, right? But also
Oh yeah.
obviously your friends.
Hmm.
I'd love to ask you a little bit about your coding work. You said that your teacher helped inspire you to do it, but is it something that you have kind of always, I mean, to some extent, been passionate about computers? That is,
Oh yeah.
have
I
you
have
always
been
been a computer
computers
guy?
forever. I got my first computer when I was in third grade, and it was just this piece of junk, like
Mm.
hand me down from the college because they were getting rid of all of their old computers to upgrade. So we got this this computer for like $50. It had Windows XP.
Hmm.
It was slow as heck. It crashed every couple days. It was awful, but it allowed me to like it allowed me have some freedom as a kid. Like I could explore like music that my parents didn't introduce me to, or like play games with my friends when I had them over, or just have some fun on this cool electrical device.
Speaking of your music, you mentioned it earlier. How much do you do with that? Or do you write? Do you produce?
I write and I perform. I haven't written a lot of music. I just have. I think I have like 3 pieces. I wrote like a multi piece, uh, like a 5 minute kind of song for like oboe, saxophone, and something else. And I really like that song, and it's beautiful. And then I wrote some small little things for my friend because they're really into animation. So and they were going to school, and they're like, "Hey, can you write me something for background music for this animation?" And I'm like, "Sure, I could do that." So I've written some like for some animation and just some of my personal stuff. And then for performance, I play the oboe. I've played for let's see, 11 years, I think. About 11 years. Wait, no, 9 years. I started just having. I started a little bit by myself, and then I had a little teacher for a couple of years, and then I went into like a junior symphony, played fun stuff like Fiddler on the Roof and stuff like that. And then I went to high school and I played there. Got a little bit of a scholarship for music there, and really had fun there. And then even now in college, I got a scholarship for some music here, and I'm the principal oboe for the both. I know, I'm principal oboe for the Wind Symphony here, and I am also playing in the orchestra here.
So
I really like playing.
Is principal oboe, from my understanding, is that like first chair?
Oh yeah. Basically first chair violin, except oboe.
Right. Okay.
So that's clearly important then. Do you feel like it's affected your? I mean, obviously it's affected your life if you're dedicating that much to it and getting scholarships and stuff. But do you think it's affected your personal life, or is it more about educational and passion life?
Yeah, I met one of my best friends in playing music in high school. It was yeah. She really wanted to be friends with me, and I'm like, oh, hey, you're cool. Let's be friends.
Just because you're a good oboe player?
I don't know, probably just because we were in music together.
Yeah.
I was the only oboe in high school because no one wants to play the oboe. No one wants to play the oboe. I got lied to, and that's why I play the oboe. Someone told me that the oboe is like playing the recorder, and hell no, not even close. Totally lied to by my parents, by my music teacher.
It's only a wind instrument, and that's the only relation.
Yep, that's about it. A little bit of fingering similarities, but not even that. Yeah. But I don't know. For a long time, I just did it because my parents wanted me to do it, or were making me to do it. And recently, I've been playing because I want to. I really like practicing. I like doing stuff by myself. I hate performing a lot. I like playing with musical groups, but I despise performing.
When did it turn from a thing that you were being forced to do into a passion, do you think? Like when your parents let off the gas, or just?
Probably in high school when my music teacher started saying, "Hey, you should audition for like the honor band," which is basically this a college program that is trying to get talented musicians from high school into the university groups. and practicing that music, and then practicing all of that music, and then coming and playing with the actual with other talented musicians and the university's symphony is really when I got passionate about it. Also being able to play in high school, being able to play really cool music like a medley of the Force Awakens. We got to when the Force Awakens came out, we got to play all of the music from that, and boy, that was fun. But yeah, playing with the honor band was, I think, what really triggered that.
Well, you mentioned your composition that you actually wrote. I'd love to hear just a little bit more about that. Was that also a thing that you did in high school?
Yeah, I did that in high school. It did it senior year. I was my music teacher made a piece, and I'm like, I wonder if I could make a piece. So I sat down and kind of started writing, and over like 2 or 3 months, more like 2 months. Over 2 months, I made this really cool song that I really like. He helped me design it because the first time I did it, I designed it in a very odd way. It had a lot of different segments, and none of them repeated. And he's like, maybe you should like mix in some of the old stuff, but like repeat some of the old melody lines and just rewrite it a little bit to have it sound just a bit different or play it a bit different. And he really helped me get that piece into a place where I really like it now. And you can find the song on music scores. It's not on Spotify or anything like that. It's just I just wrote it, and it's kind of just sitting in my library.
One more question before we leave off here. This is just a little fun one. I want to know if there was a ritual to summon you, blood circles or maybe playing an oboe, what would it be?
So I have getting a round table and then putting a freshly baked pizza on the table, and then playing some Gabriel's oboe in the background, and then chanting 3 theoretical mathematical equations, and then ending off with "Live long and prosper," and then poof.
Oh my gosh!
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah! Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, buddy, for joining us today on the Waiting for Seconds podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I don't know about you, Malcolm, but I loved just getting to kind of know you a little bit more.
Yeah. It was really nice to meet you and come to learn about you. Very, very enjoyable conversation.
Nice being on the podcast, and nice meeting you, Malcolm.
Yeah.
So I think we'll call it for today. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you next time.
The outro for the podcast today is a song by Adam Taylor called The Phoenix Song. Hope you enjoy.